two issues I wanted to bring to your attention today. One is about the settlement of the Equifax breach. How many have heard the news already? Have you have? Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and of course, you know, my discussion or presentation is always about business and technology, and so the second presentation is going to impact both, and it's what happens to our digital life after our transition. In fact, they certainly here they say after our death, but I prefer to say transition. So what happened to our digital life after our transition? So let me go to since we're having challenges with our technology here, we're going to do everything here with sound. As much as I wanted to have the video, I'm going to play the video, but because we're having issues, did something come up? Okay. I'm going to play it. Okay, so let's see. This is about the Equifax settlement. So let me bring that up and see if I can turn the sound up and see if I get you to hear.
Xfinity Mobile combines America's
Of course, you know we have to hear a commercial first, right?
Hotspots. When you're on one, you save on data. When you're not, you pay by the gig. Or just switch to unlimited. It's a different kind of wireless network. Call, visit, or go to xfinitymobile.com.
Okay, here we go. Can you hear that?
Tuesday, our Eye on Money series looks at financial issues affecting Americans. Well, this morning, we are focusing on an unprecedented agreement by the credit monitoring agency Equifax. It will pay up to $700 million after a huge data breach in 2017. Up to $425 million of that would establish a fund to compensate consumers. About 147 million people, that's nearly half the country's population, had their personal and financial information exposed. Equifax admits no wrongdoing, and a federal court still needs to sign off on the settlement. So to find out if you are eligible for a payout, we are joined by CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Always great to see you. Good to see you.
Good morning.
So this settlement, if it's approved by the courts, who will be eligible?
So again, of those 147 million people, some of them don't even know they were impacted. Way back when, almost 2 years ago, when the breach occurred, you were encouraged to go online to see, hey, is your information compromised? A lot of people did it, but many people didn't. Equifax followed up. They mailed notices. You were impacted. A lot of people blew it off. And so what we really are wanting to do here is encourage people to stay on top of this story. Go to ftc.gov/Equifax because there will be a tool available that will let you know whether you are impacted by this credit breach.
I'm always amazed when there are settlements like this, just how much money companies have sitting around, like, oh, 700 million, yeah, we'll get it from the back. But so if people do not come forward and stay on top of it, as you say, does that mean Equifax will keep the money?
Well, it's up to this $700 million, depending on how many people jump into the pool.
Really?
But there's really interesting details about what you could be entitled to. So free credit monitoring for up to, say, 10 years, whether it's through other credit monitoring companies or Equifax. There's also a restoration of your identity. So that is a really important component. So that means if your identity was compromised, they will help you get things back on track.
Wow.
I think the one getting the most attention, up to $20,000 if you can prove that this Equifax breach actually damage you. So that could be including maybe time spent, maybe it's your identity was used to do something else, and so that $20,000 per person is getting a lot of attention right now.
People are rechecking their records.
Yeah.
How has this affected their business?
Well, it's interesting because when Equifax first announced this, the stock price tumbled. It has since come back. You mentioned that they have $700 million sitting around. They had already put $690 million set aside. But here's the critical portion of this part of the question. Nothing in the credit monitoring and reporting businesses has substantively changed. And I think consumer advocates are upset about that.
Meaning your data is still, or could be, potentially compromised.
That's exactly right, that they want them to beef these systems up, but I'm not sure that they really have. And so as consumers, what does that mean? It means we have to be vigilant, and that means you keep an eye on it.
How difficult would it be to prove that I was breached? I'm sitting at home looking at you right now.
I think it is basically very difficult to understand whether or not that breach, let's assume you were breached, whether it was used for nefarious reasons. And this is why that $20,000 is going to be elusive. I don't think a lot of people are going to be able to prove that they were actually damaged financially. And that will be the case. We're going to stay on this, I promise. ftc.gov/Equifax. Sign up for the free email alerts.
All right. Thank you, Jill.
Money.
Got a lot done there.
Okay, now let me give a couple of comments. Don't expect to get a dime from Equifax. Not a dime. I know I was affected. My wife was affected. When they say half the people in the United States were affected, about half were. If they were to pay out, if they had to pay out anything to half the people in the United States, it's going to be a whole lot more than that money they say they put aside. Am I correct? So don't try to get any money. The best deal you can get out of this, if you want to get anything out of it, is the credit monitoring. Up to 10 years of credit monitoring. That's a good deal. And that's probably the best deal you could get out of it. That's not to say that you don't stop looking at getting your 3 free credit reports every year. And if you want to, freezing your credit and monitoring your credit yourself. No one's going to watch your own business better than you can. Am I correct? So don't give your everything over to someone else to watch it for you. But if you're going to get anything out of this and they're offering it, take the credit monitoring service. We did get it I think we got it for a year or 2, and it was good. Anytime somebody accessed either one of our credit, the service sent me an email letting someone had watched it. Even if they just did an inquiry, you can do those inquiries, and they send you those that stuff in the mail for these free apply for a credit card. So when they do that inquiry, they still have to access your credit to do that. That's how they determine if you're credit worthy enough for them to send you the invitation. When they did that, they sent me an email alert letting me know someone had looked at my credit. So the credit monitoring, that's good, all right, and that's about the best you can hope for to get something out of this. Because people think they're gonna get any money out of it, they're gonna be sadly mistaken. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk to you about relative to the Equifax breach. Now let me go to my next presentation here. Again, I'm going to do it. Yes. The lawyers? Well, they already made a settlement with the FTC. So the company is still doing what they like to say. They're still going on with their business. All right. Now, this next presentation is on your digital life. What I mean by your digital life? How many of you are like me, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, any of those platforms? How many use those? How many are on them anyway? Raise your hand. Okay, nobody else uses them? You're not on them at all? Not on Facebook? Y'all must be living in where y'all living at? Are you on it? Is your business on it?
You just made my argument this morning. I sent her to make 500 flyers to send back with Imam Alfred. Because I told her that our community, for some reason, a lot of us don't
use the social media?
Because it's before our time.
Yes. Well, I'm on it. And,
we before the time of that.
Yes. The reason why, now, there's a reason why I'm asking all of you this. I'm asking you this. Because just like you have to make a plan for your estate, your physical estate when you make your transaction, you also have to make a plan for your digital estate, all right? Because you have a digital estate. I'm going to play this information so you can hear it. I wish you could see it. But the storyline is very important. And so after I play this, then I'll make a few comments.
Is it on YouTube?
This one is, I'll certainly give you the, where you can get it. There's because they have some form of it on YouTube and various other places online. This one's a pretty good one. There was another one that we had first looked at, my wife and I first looked at, but it dealt with two guys who were married, and I didn't think that was appropriate for us to be talking about in here. Okay, this is a little better one. Okay, okay. It is, but
That is a real.
it is, but
And you know what? Because it's such a strong reality, next time I'm gonna ask that you don't hold back.
okay. Well, I can tell you,
Idle and underutilized equipment costs you time and
my wife told me don't do it.
That's why United Rentals is combining equipment, data, safety, and expertise to help your worksite perform better. United Rentals.
As a mother,
But this one will get it. This one will get it. This will get to the same thing. All right, so give it your attention. Let's see if we can hear this. Yeah.
Well, most families prepare for the unthinkable with
Yeah,
a
but-
will, but protecting your digital legacy can be just as important. Many of us store information in various accounts online, and after death, our loved ones may need to access that data. Meg Oliver spoke to one family who suffered devastating consequences after their father died. It's still hard for Karen Prangley to look at old photos of her dad. We didn't know at what point we were going to lose my dad. Greg Prangley suffered two devastating strokes in 2009. After a week in a coma, the 62-year-old woke up, but his memory was shot. My brother and I tried to communicate with him via paper, pen, any way to try to get into this email account where he ran his business from. Greg could not remember his Yahoo password. His entire business was tied to his account. Within a month, the company collapsed. Greg died in 2014. You're dealing with the idea that your dad might not be there the next day, and also trying to make sure that you're doing the right thing on his behalf. Dan Ackerman is a senior editor for CNET. He says you can do more than share your passwords. So what's the first place you have to go to start protecting your digital life?
I would go to each individual service that you use, social media service or something like, Google, where you have a lot of different services that you wrap in together, and look for the appropriate page on each one where you can set up basically your legacy contact or your wishes for what would happen to your account and your information after you die.
Protecting your digital afterlife is a relatively new concept. Part of that plan also includes adding your digital life to your will.
As part of your estate planning, you should almost set up a data executor in your will who has permission to access your account. You either give them the password information ahead of time, or you make them an authorized user of your accounts.
Something Karen's father never did. The family contacted Yahoo for help, but the company's policy states neither the Yahoo account nor any of the content therein are transferable, even when the account owner is deceased. We learned it the very hard way. Being a small business owner, he had everything in that account. Everything was lost, and we, to this day, never were able to get into that Yahoo account. Meg Oliver joins me now. Meg, this is something that I think I've only started to think about recently with everybody on Facebook, social media, and some of the people I've known have passed away and their Facebook pages are still up and running. I never even considered the financial ramifications when so much of what we do happens online. Did the family get anywhere with Yahoo at all? They tried repeatedly, Anne-Marie. They contacted Yahoo. The wife had power of attorney, but nothing seemed to work. Yahoo did offer them a hint at one point, but that led them nowhere. A hint to what the password would have been? Wow. So do they have any sort of legal options at all? So it's interesting. There are a handful of states that have some laws that say people have access to a deceased relative's account. However, it varies by company to company. So you could just be going back from one company to another and not sure what could happen. There is no uniformity, and it could take years for laws to be on the books in all 50 states, which makes it so important to put this as part of your estate planning now. Right, like include it in a will, and like we heard, more than just giving people your passwords, really specify who has access to these accounts. So then what are the biggest risks when it comes to, your digital sort
sort of history online after you die?
You've got the financial aspect, right? Where you could be locked out of accounts like your mortgage, your banking, your credit cards. Then you've got the emotional aspect. It's estimated that you probably have about 26 online accounts. So imagine going through the grieving process and then having to go from one account to another.
Yeah.
It's tiring. It's emotionally draining. Then what I found fascinating, there's this ethical perspective. During my research, I found this woman who recently lost her brother suddenly in his 50s. She didn't know what kind of funeral he wanted, and he had everything encrypted. She even got a computer expert to try to get into his account. Nothing worked. She struggled with it. And in the end, she decided to have him cremated, but she told me, she said, I don't know if that's what he would have wanted.
Right, and yeah, you're right about the ethics. I mean, should we even be allowed to go through that sort of stuff? If it's encrypted, maybe he didn't want anyone to read it.
Let me stop it there. All right. I talked about estate planning here before, but I hadn't even thought about digital in your digital life. And my wife knows, I run 2 or 3 businesses online. In fact, the whole business is run online. All right. And I'm certain some of if you're either in here or some relatives who have businesses or in their life is digitized. All right. I just recently, for those of us who use Facebook, Facebook sends you memories. Every now and then you get in your timeline Facebook memories. They sent me one. It was a picture. It was a picture that I had taken here. I don't know how many people shared. Did you see the picture? Okay. One of them, Mohammed, the second was in the picture. I was in the picture. My 2 brothers, my 2 biological blood brothers was in the picture. And Khalid Galab was in the picture. Now, Khalid Galab has made his transition. And since then. And so, but I shared the picture with me if I could share. Then I went to his page. His page is still up, Now, he was an entertainer. So, but when I went to his page, it was not memorialized. The last thing was on his page was the comments from his wife about what she meant to him. But when you say memorialize, you want to set that front part of your page up, where when someone comes to it, you want them to get the information about you, about maybe your life here, when you transition this life, something like that. And the one thing that I've gotten that really causes me issues is I get birthday requests. From Facebook from someone I know has already made the transition. But that's because they have not memorialized the page. All right. So I'm going to incorporate my planning for my digital life with my estate planning with my wife, and then with someone else. My wife is great, but she doesn't like that social media and stuff like that. Okay, she's not that into it. But I have a couple of nieces that are. Okay, and I'm going to ask them to help assist my wife and being my digital executor. Because I'm giving them my passwords and getting everything so they can just go in. And then we've already set up my obituary. Did you? I don't know. Now I'm talking, and I know nobody think this is morbid, but this is life. I don't know if y'all understand this now. This is life's transition.
You got 3 businesses online, right?
Yeah, please.
That sounds like your 4th. That sounds like your 4th one, setting that up there. Why don't you do it for
Well, no, I ain't. Well, I'm going to make people aware of it as much as possible. And then what I'll do is...
What you going to name the page?
You're right. What I'll do is... Huh?
What you going to name the page?
I haven't made a decision. But I would do this. I will say this. I will share this like I shared that I shared the checklist. The checklist. Once I go through this, I'll share that with the Mosque and with you.
Some of the components are already on the checklist
right.
For the password for the social media account.
But it needs to be a little bit more than that.
Right,
Okay.
A little bit more detail.
Right. And I was getting ready. Right. I was getting ready to say about. Right. I was getting ready to say about obituary, and we've already written our obituaries. My wife and I, we've written ours already. So if we both go together, my son knows where to go get the stuff, and he don't have to go through all that. It's already been written. So I'm going to write one for my digital life, for my Facebook page, for my Twitter account. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr. I think those are ones I can mention.
And so on.
And I got a few others. Because in this day and time, you almost have to have that to communicate. In this day and time, You almost have to have it. So it's important for us to do that. Plan out and start structuring things for your digital life, just like you do for your other, your finances and stuff like that, because you do. Yes, sir, Brother Imam.
I have a question. I have a younger brother. He's 7 years younger than I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether he's that smart or not, but he's never on a credit card. When you get out to pay cash, buy gas,
yes,
he pay cash for his gas. He doesn't have he had to have a cell phone for the last job that he was on.
Okay.
But so that's only, he gets that one cell phone, no Facebook. Now he's got 2 sons and a daughter. I don't know, but he has no.
No. How about afterlife, in the life planning, anything?
Well, I don't know about all that. I'm pretty sure he got all that because he ain't broke.
Okay. It's not.
I just wondered how smart a man he got when he gets ready to buy gas. He got to go in and
yeah. There's some people that just don't believe in plastic. The plastic money, they just don't believe in it. They have issues with it. There's some people don't like banks.
What happened was he got burnt once.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people don't like banks.
Yeah, he was working on Tupperware.
Tupperware.
Some kind of ware. And when it split,
yes,
he had big money in the profit sharing.
Yes, yeah.
And he lost a lot of money like that. So
it can devastate you. Tupperware. I'll see your hand, brother. Go ahead. Your question. Yes, sir. And let me do a favor. Hold on just a second, brother. Let me do a favor. And I'm passing this mic to you, but I want to explain to you why we're doing this. I had the opportunity to hold on just a second. Take the mic. But wait a minute. I had the opportunity to record the CDs for the Ramadan session. Remember? Right. And I recorded for everyone. Right. The biggest criticism that people gave was that when someone asked a question, they couldn't hear what the question was.
Right.
Okay? And so there was and so I said, okay, well, what we're going to try to do with the moderators, what we'll try to do is repeat the question if we can. Sometimes when it goes on a little long, there's a lot. So sometimes I'll try to what they call it, improvise a little bit, try to give the person who's listening what the question was about, but I would much prefer than to be able to hear it from you. So if you will wait just a second when you have a question, and I said, let me get the mic to you, let me help you first understand why I'm telling you to do that, so that the people who are listening on Facebook Live, and it's being recorded by the Mosqueers, so they can hear your question, okay, or your comment, okay? All right, go ahead, brother. Walaikum assalam.
My question is about the first part of your talk here.
Okay.
And in relationship to them, the money that they're offering to people that breach their credit.
Equifax. Okay. Yes.
Now, if somebody had opened up, got your information, opened up a company in your name, and run up a bill of $200,000-$300,000, and you can prove it. Now, are you saying that they can recuperate that money from them, from Equifax?
Okay, good question. No, they limit it to $20,000. So if you run up more than that for this settlement, now that doesn't say that you can't go out and sue Equifax yourself, But now you see how big Equifax is, right?
Right. That's a lot of money, $20,000. Most people credit line ain't $20,000.
Well, you're right. Now remember now. But I was using his example. He was saying if they open up an account and they ran up $300,000 worth of debt or something like that, you would want to try to get some kind of restitution. That's what he's saying. But this settlement, though, the maximum you could get, even if you could prove it, would be $20,000. That's the max you can get through this settlement. That's not to say that you can't go out and sue them yourself. But how much would it cost you to sue them based on what it is of your potential loss? All right, but Taryn, you got you a lawyer, or even two, and they got a whole slew of lawyers. All right, and they'll throw as much money as they need to throw at it to make you go away. All right, would it be worth it?
My question is, that could bankrupt the person that that's done to.
I agree. You're correct. So I'm not. Well, some have already said that the settlement was really a joke. That the settlement was really a joke. That there's no way in the world that people are going to be made whole if they were really taken advantage of. The only thing that I can say, and we were blessed. We found out early enough, where we were able to freeze our credit reports. All right, so nothing like that happened. But I'm not saying that for everybody, because like they say, about half the people in the United States were affected by that breach. All right. All right. Let me get. Can you pass the mic to this brother? Because we want to get you on. And then I got 7 minutes left on my time. All right. Yes, sir. Warning my salam.
I got to go back to this historical or this legacy of you passing away.
Mm-hmm.
If you pass away and the bill's not being paid, wouldn't they cut this page off anyway? Or is it infinitum?
Okay. Remember now, Facebook, almost all those services are free. They don't charge you for them. They're free. Twitter's free. Well, I'll put that in quotes, free in quotes. Okay. But it doesn't cost you anything to sign up and use those services. All right. So just because you don't get on it and don't check it or don't say anything on it, doesn't stop it. No, it doesn't stop it. And the key thing is when you go on it, you have to sign in. So you have a password. You have to sign in. If the person if you pass away, if they don't have that password, that's what they were talking about with Yahoo. They could never get into that account. They could never get into it to do anything to it. And if you operate your business, like this particular example was, this person operated his business through Yahoo. If you operate your business that way, and you haven't given none of your loved ones that password, then that's it. I have there's 2 web businesses I operate, and I operate them through GoDaddy. GoDaddy is the hosting company, right? But I have a password. Not only do I have a password, I have a password, and they do it's called a 2-tier verification. Not only do they have to have the password, they're going to call a number. And using my cell phone. If they don't have that cell phone and can give that number, they can't get in. So I had to give all that information to whoever's going to handle this for me. You see what I'm saying? So that's to protect you and your privacy. All right. But also, you can see now where you're going to have to look at making sure that you talk to people and let people know in your whoever's going to be your executive of your estate. And remember now, we all have an estate. I don't care if you have a penny. We all have an estate. Okay, we all have an estate. All right. You may not think you have one, but you do. You really do. You have an estate. All right. Yes, is that it? Brother behind. What is my son?
The Equifax settlement was $700 million. What happened to the $125 they're going to give everybody that was affected by it?
Well,
They couldn't get...
that's what they say. They say of course, you know it doesn't add up. They didn't say they won't give it to everybody. That's the key. They just said they're putting aside and you can get $125. But like the FTC settled with them. A judge is going to have to finalize the settlement. But like they say, look, don't wait for that money. Don't look for it. Really don't look for it.
But as late as yesterday, they said that they've already agreed that there's no way possible
that they can pay for it. Yeah, right. There's no way it can be. There's no way it can be done. They say the best deal is the credit monitor. They say the best deal is the credit monitor. Take that. At least you get something out of the deal. Well, not only I know that they mess it up, they're still in business. They're still in business. Well, remember now, they're not in business for us. They didn't go in business for us. They went in business for businesses that loan or give out credit card and give out credit. They just collect the information. And they work with them. Equifax never asked me for anything. You know, they never asked me for anything because I wouldn't give them nothing. All right, they don't get it from me. They get it from what? They get it from the bank, from whoever you got a credit card from. That's where they get it from. And you know, so they're still in business. Nothing has changed. All right.
She was just saying she works at a bank. She said when they had checks, they wrote checks. The thieves were. They had what y'all call it? Check fraud.
Yeah.
Wherever there's being money passed, the thieves are gonna find a way to commit fraud.
Sure.
So you know that's not the biggest thing you have to worry about.
Wires, if somebody tells you to wire
it's a counter. It's kind of like if you fighting somebody, and if you don't know you in a fight, you're not gonna protect yourself. But if you know you're in a fight, you can protect yourself. That's how the banks and everything are working. They're working with the consumer to protect you from unseen fraud, from fraud that's going on, and unseen fraud. And you're pretty well protected. I mean,
it's the best. It's good protection. It just so happened that someone was able to compromise that system. You all heard about the most recent one, right? I got 2 minutes left, so let me close down with this one. Have you heard about the most recent one? Oh no, the one where this is the one where the software engineer went in and hacked the accounts and stole it. No, this is so this is not something that is going to stop tomorrow. You know? This company was Capital One. Capital One Bank. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I apologize. Capital One Bank. She worked for the bank. You know, she was a software engineer. And then after she did what she did, then she went online and bragged about it. I let you know. They didn't went online and bragged. Now the FBI they caught her and locked her up. But let me tell you what's gonna happen. I shouldn't say what's gonna happen. But I'll give you an idea. These people like this, they cut deals with these people. You know why they do this? Because they wanna know how was she able to do what she was able to do, right? And they will cut a deal and say, okay, we will reduce your sentence, or won't even give you jail time if you would agree to tell us how you were able to do that, so that they can guard against it. This is what they do. They call them black. They have white hat hackers and they got black hat hackers. That's all right. So the white hat hackers are the ones that they try to hack in and see if you can get in. And if you can, then tell us how you did it, so we can try to correct it. That's how it works. That's how it works. Right. And the ones that were compromised were ones that had applied for credit cards within the last 5 years, I think they said, within the last 5 years. And it was the credit card applications. That's where she was able to get in first. All right. Yes. Two.
Is to be reported, if it will.
Yes.
And you're not live anymore.
I'm off?
Been on.
Okay. The power ran out. I didn't have it on.
It's plugged up. But
is it switch off?
For some reason, it just
maybe somebody hit the switch.
Or the internet dropped. Either one. But don't worry about it. We won't worry about it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Capital One. That's when I knew it was Capital One. I had a situation like in November 2018 with someone. I had a Capital One credit card, but I was just paying it off. They never used it for over 2 years. But this particular company was able to use that credit card. I never gave them the information.
Okay.
And they was able to bill me on this credit card that they didn't have any information about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ran into a situation recently where the identity theft company that's supposed to be checking me, they scamming too. So we have to be careful.
Yeah, I agree. There's something behind you. You have to be careful. Well, as I just said, no one is going to watch out for your business better than you will, right? You gotta look out for yourself. Yes, Sister Imam.
Question and a request that we continue trying to work on this, because it has lots of layers to it.
Yes.
And of course we as older people maybe.
Okay. This sister, can I ask the questions? Just Venus. Venus, Sister Ronnie trying to ask a question. Your voice is coming through. That's okay. All right, go ahead.
Because we as older people are focusing a lot on it because, of course, we're very conscious of that. But then I had a relative that passed away younger than I, and he had his phone attached to his automatic withdrawal. Okay, so then by the time that his family found everything, I mean his immediate family found everything, then his account was empty because the phone had continued to automatically
withdraw things from his account.
So I guess
it was paying bills. He had bill payments. He had bill payments set up, right? Yeah.
So I'm saying when we, work on the sheet that we've been working on.
Yes.
Some kind of way we need to kind of put what things on there are automatic withdrawal, which things, and it's very. It's very, yeah, because I'm still not actually picturing, and because I've been asking this question for the last 2 or 3 years myself, how different accounts, I mean, you're saying give it to somebody, but it's almost they tell you to change passwords and then you don't remember to.
Yeah.
So it's
a challenge. It's a challenge. Well, now this is what I will agree to.
She said use a phrase.
Yeah. This is what I will agree to, because my time is up. But this is what I will agree to do again, is to remind all of us, even those of us who are somewhat technology challenged, even us and our family members. Password managers, so you don't have to try to remember passwords, are good to use. And I'll go into those again, remind people how they work again at One First Sunday. And so password managers, because in this day and time, almost anything you do online involves a password. It involves a password. Now, they have some that they're going to, I talked about that I think 2 or 3 First Sundays ago, where it's becoming, where you can use your face, or use a fingerprint, so you don't have to remember a password. There's some are doing that. I'm seriously. Now, in fact, it's going to be more and more of that. All right.
But when those are going into effect, then you can't will that password to nobody. Right.
Well. No, what I'm trying to say is you can't do once you can do that once you passed away. They know that once you passed away, they go to the secondary. They know, yeah. But what I also would do is do this as an example. So you couldn't see the video, you just heard it, where they say go to each one of those sites and go to where it says set up, where you're going to set up to have someone set up to take care of this account if something happens if you make your transition. And you do the same thing with the account as you do at the bank. If I've gone to the bank, and I don't know if you have done it, but we talked about that. I had to go to the bank and set things up so if I make my transition, my wife can have access to my accounts. All right, or if my son would have access to my accounts. You have to do this. You have to do this, because if you don't do this, I can tell you right now, banks are not going to allow. They're not going to allow just somebody to walk in and say they this and that and whoever they are. They don't care who it is, and give them access to your account. That's not going to happen. All right, and if you don't do that, after a certain time, your assets and stuff like that, they pass over to the state. If your relatives and somebody that they can't get access to them, after a certain time, they won't be able to get access to them. All right, and they go to the state. So I will take that into consideration, Sister Marani. I'll speak about that, and to try to make it so it's not so confusing and challenging. The one thing I enjoy my wife and my grandchildren say, they say, Granddaddy, you a gadget man. You love gadgets. And that's what they call me, Mr. Gadget, right? And I do. But I make them useful. These things, Allah has blessed these things to be available to us for us to use. All right. So for me, I'm comfortable with them. What I'll try to do is make it as comfortable and easy for you and others to use it. But one of the things we must do, we must use them. Because if we don't use them, in this day and time, if we don't use them, those who are using them will take advantage of us. All right? They'll take advantage of us. All right. So inshallah, as I go forward, I will repeat my presentation on those areas. And if there's something that you would like me to address, let me know, and I will research and address it. Yes, sir, Brother Adele.
I'll make it real quick.
Yes, sir.
When you sign up for a lot of these social media sites and a lot of the stuff that leaves a digital footprint.
Yes.
When you do sign up, majority of them are free.
Yes.
But the free is based on you giving them access to your data.
That's correct.
So when you sign up, it's always going to ask you for the user agreement and the sign-in. So
That's
a lot
correct.
of times when you agree to that, you're giving up your rights to your data and to a lot of your information.
That's correct.
So a lot of times you have intellectual property on the outside of businesses. That then becomes their property. So a lot of times if they have a paid one and a free one, sometimes it's better to go with the paid option, you know, if you could, or just keep certain stuff in the paid one and leave the free one for certain things. And always make sure you read the user agreements.
Yes.
Because even if after you pass, you leave your passwords and you do certain things, there's certain data and certain information that if they wanted to, they could keep it.
Sure. You're absolutely correct. He's speaking about when you sign up for most of these social media platforms, they have user agreements. And he was recommending that for those that you sign up that are free, you do give up access to some of your data. And in this day and time, data is king. You know, data is what they're really selling now. Most people, when they look at the user agreement is 10, 15 pages long. And there's a bunch of legalese. You're lost after you read the first paragraph. You say, oh, either I want it or I don't. And they know that. They already know this. All right. But you just need to know what you're giving up when you participate or use those services. All right. So with that, brothers and sisters, I thank you for your participation and allowing me to present. And I greet you with the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum.